Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortress Comic News, episode 406. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my co-host, Mike. What's going on, Mike?
Nothing much. I got a first-time interview today with Mr. Chris O'Hara. Talk about his publishing house he's got there, Bent Box Publishing. Going to focus on his book, Refuge. Really cool all-ages book, some amazing art. So looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And other than that, not a whole lot going on, I would say, as far as have I done anything comic book or pop culture related, watched anything really? Not really. No, just been playing my video games, That's about it.
I listened to that Let's Talk Comics podcast.
Oh, yeah, with the Image one?
Yeah, and I'd recommend it.
Cool.
I think I'm going to keep listening to it.
Awesome. That's great.
The Rick Remender episode, the first one, is great.
Okay.
Remender seems like a blast to talk to.
Oh, man. Love to talk to that guy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that was good. I watched The Watchmen Chapter 1 cartoon.
I forgot that's even out.
Yeah, it's good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's Watchmen. It's hard to not be good.
Mm-hmm.
The animation, though, reminds me of like a Telltale video game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
It's got a very drawn 3D style. That's strange, but it didn't take away it. It kind of worked for the movie, and I don't think this is a spoiler because it's fucking Watchmen. Everybody in the world read Watchmen.
Yeah,
but it ends right as they arrest Rorschach.
Okay.
So I feel like it's going to be 2 parts.
I think the second part is out. Is it not?
It's out. Yeah, but it's not on Max, so it's not. It's not out as far as Chris is concerned.
Yeah, that's so stupid. I don't know why they do that.
Let's see if we can get people to rent. Dude, I just saw I saw Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is available to rent.
Oh yeah,
and I was like, oh, I'll rent it. That was what I was gonna watch this weekend. I was like, I'll rent that and watch it. And they want you to pay $20 to rent it, and I'm like, I will wait for Paramount Plus.
Yep, that's so stupid. I started watching a show actually called something the Jackal Show. I can't remember if it's Day of the Jackal. It's with Eddie Redmayne, the fellow from Fantastic Beasts, that always looks like he's got something in his mouth.
The Day of the Jackal.
The Day of the Jackal. So it's got him in it. He's an assassin. Did you ever see the movie that I think it's The Jackal it's with Bruce Willis back in the day where he's like is it him? Yeah, he's like a terrorist or something. Did you ever see that? Or he's got like a remote controlled Gatling gun.
1997 movie.
Yeah, it's Bruce Willis, right?
And Richard Gere.
Yeah, Richard Gere. It's so yeah. I mean, Richard Gere was in everything in the 90s, pretty much. So is Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis in quite a bit of stuff. But I think they're books that I believe they're books that these shows. So it's like espionage, spy stuff, but it's like an assassin. This one, I think the show is more heavy-handed in like the assassin espionage, so it takes place at like MI6. And the girl who plays 006 in the Daniel Craig James Bond movies, she's actually the main spy for MI6 that's like going after the shooter. It's really good so far. I think you'd like it.
Is that Jack? That's a young Jack Black.
Oh yes, yep.
I'm watching the trailer. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a young Jack Black. But anyways, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that movie still holds up, but I think you would like the TV show that I'm watching now, just because it's more espionage and like, I don't know how to describe it. It's not like James Bond. It's a little more serious than James Bond, I guess, but a little more realistic.
This might be it. There was some show. Actually, no, it's a Max show. That's like an espionage show, but it's got like a very Russian flair to it, where like it's all about like American Russian tensions.
This one he's a really good shooter, and he like takes a shot and kills like some German prime minister, and now he basically gets hired on the dark web to kill like high level officials. And
interesting,
he gets screwed over in the first assassination, so then he like goes after the guy that screwed him over and like takes it personally. He's like, oh, and so like he's going after them. MI6 is like following him. It's really good. so far. And the guy who, oh man, the guy from the new Guardians of the Galaxy, the villain, he was also in Peacemaker. The guy who was like the cyborg looking guy that was like creating people in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Was that the villain, or was that the movie he was the villain in?
Oh yeah, he jeez, what was I'm not even gonna, because if I say his name and I fuck it up, it's gonna be really racist. So
yeah, it's yeah. Well, either way, it's him from the.
So he has a very Nigerian name, and I just feel like I'm gonna fuck it up royally.
Yeah, you don't want to mess that up.
No.
But he's. I mean, you'll notice a lot of people in the show are really good. But I think it's on like Peacock though, which is the only downside to it. It really sucks. You gotta like.
I do have Peacock though.
Oh, you do? Okay, yes. Well there you go. You can watch it. It's called
That's how I can watch Parks and Rec every 5 days.
That's it too. That's the only reason we have Peacock to watch.
I need to get into because now I have like a lull between shows. I need to like jump back in the Skeleton Crew and see if I can like push through this thing.
I've heard it's good, but
it just doesn't seem like my thing. But yeah, I've heard good things too. So
there's a lot of new shows. Well, not new shows, but like several seasons coming back, and that brings us to our TV news, I guess. With we're almost back with Invincible season 3. Now we have a lot more info about the cast, which is kind of crazy. You have Aaron Paul playing Powerplex. Okay. You have Kate Mara playing Becky Duvall. So I mean, these are just like huge name actors they have. That's kind of how they've been going. Christian Convery will play Oliver. That's probably the first one I don't know.
That's because it's kid actor.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Simu Liu will play Multi-Paul, which is awesome. Zolo Maraduena will play Dropkick Fight Master. That's the kid from Karate Kid, right? Cobra Kai, who plays Blue Beetle.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Z Ma will play Mr. Liu. John DiMaggio will play the Elephant, and Doug Bradley and Jonathan Banks have joined in undisclosed roles. That's kind of crazy that they have all these big name actors hopping in here. That's wild.
It must be that people just want to be a part of it because there's no way the budget's that big enough to pay for a lot of these guys.
Yeah,
I know like Aaron Paul isn't as big as he used to be, and most of these people aren't as big as they used to be, but still they gotta demand some sort of pay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm excited to have the Elephant. Is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's funny.
Aaron Paul as Powerplex is the one that I'm gonna put a question mark by. I'm not too sure about that, but
a lot of these. We'll see how long these characters actually stick around. You know what I mean?
That's another thing.
They could just be like one-offs that they're doing for fun.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of them are going to be. They might show up once in a season.
Yeah,
and maybe again a couple seasons or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes good splash pages on social media to be like Aaron Paul.
Right? Yeah, he's back. Yeah.
Remember you like that show he did? Forget about that movie he did. Nobody wants to talk about that.
Nobody talks about Need for Speed. They talk about their need for meth. That's the one. That's the one they like. Yeah. I'm excited for season 3. We've been loving the show so far. So, James Gunn talking about some movie stuff. He discussed the role of Elseworld movies for the future of DC films. How the studio will differentiate them from the mainline film. The main thing the studio plans to do is give these films Elseworlds logo and a unique opening for them. So we're treating it just like the comics, folks. The comics always had that Elseworlds logo. I think this is really cool to acknowledge it in the big film. Is cool to be like DC Elseworlds up front. I think that's a great approach. I don't know why they haven't been doing that, but here we are. So
this was something I felt for a long time they needed to do, because they were always saying like people will know it's not part of canon.
Right.
No, they won't.
No.
People still think that the Batman is part of canon.
Yeah. Yep.
So I love that he's doing this. I love that the logo is just like he did with DC Films.
Yep.
Why fuck with a good thing? Let's just take the Elseworlds logo, throw it up there.
Don't mess with it.
And to have a unique opening, I'm sure it'll be something fun that we'll see here. It's a great idea. I love that they're doing it. So good on them.
I want more Elseworlds stories on live action. That would be amazing. I hope. One can hope. And then we got quite a bit of comic news, folks, that we're going to run through here.
Yes. It's almost like things are starting to heat up, Mike.
Yeah, it's weird. The start of the year is happening here. Marvel announced that with issue 20 of Daredevil series, our hero will bring back his black armor set. Oh boy, from the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Marvel
did not.
Oh, that's
I was gonna say it did not last long.
Yeah.
There's been there was a miniseries 2 years ago that brought it back, but in the timeline of when it was back, which was only like 3 or 4 issues back in the day.
It's so 90s too, because like when he puts the suit on, it's like, oh, he just gets muscles on muscles, which is like
yeah.
It's even drawn such a 90s way. It's crazy.
I think it's a cool looking armor set though. Like,
yeah, it is.
I don't suspect it'll last long, maybe a story arc or two, but it's cool. I mean, we've had so many Daredevil costumes at this point. It makes sense to go back to some and see what they're all about. So
that's funny.
I'm excited.
I just like that they're bringing back the 90s for nostalgia effects. We're still doing it. Marvel announced a new Fantastic Four limited series titled Fantastic Four Fanfare. Wow. The series will bring back some of FF's most influential storytellers to new stories about the team. This includes Jonathan Hickman, Mark Waid, Dan Slott? Yeah, Dan Slott, sorry. Okay, I was like, is there a Dan Slott? Alan Davis, J. Michael Straczynski, Chip Zdarsky, Mike Allred, Mark Bagley, and more. Holy shit. This is insane. Fantastic Four Fanfare invites some of the most influential FF storytellers to tell new stories that capture the spirit and heart of the superhero team that started it all. Each issue will spotlight a different member of the team and spectacular tales that are perfect for longtime fans, new readers alike. Here's what to expect in the book's inaugural outing. Mark Waid and Ramon Rosanas depict an escalating prank war between Human Torch and the Thing. Sounds awesome. Alan Davis sends the team into hazards deep underground. Andrew Wheeler and Sarah Pacelli reveal what happens when the Mole Man interrupts Johnny Storm's star-making turn on reality television. Dude, I'm excited for this. It's basically a Fantastic Four anthology with amazing writers. Yeah, this sounds so cool. Coming out in May, folks.
This does sound really cool. I think it's a great idea. I mean, we're going to see later with Superman 2. There's a Fantastic Four movie coming out, so let's put out more Fantastic Four stuff.
More fantastic fanfare.
When I was seeing this earlier in the week, I was like, when did Chip Zdarsky do a Fantastic Four book?
Yeah.
And the answer is he didn't, Mike.
Oh, okay.
But they've rebranded this book as Fantastic Four Fate of the Four.
Uh-huh.
He did Marvel 2-in-1
for
12 issues in an annual.
Okay.
That teamed up the Thing and the Human Torch.
Interesting.
Not really a Fantastic Four book, I was just going to say, but fuck it. Give Chip all the money, so.
Yeah. That's, I mean, Mark Waid doing FF again is pretty awesome, so. Yeah,
I'll be interested to see what Hickman does. I'm assuming they're going to be in their timelines, too. Like, we're going to get Hickman during the Future Foundation time, and Dan Slott doing his, like, weird Fantastic Four that didn't have any of the original characters.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four and so on. So
we'll see how it comes out, but that's still a really cool idea, I think.
It's a really great idea, and I'm glad when these things happen, for anyone that's a fan of these things, yourself being one of them, for this particular one, I'm just happy they're getting more content with great creators.
Yep. Agreed. Oh boy. Marvel announced the first Star Wars comic, the new line of comics set. After the events of Return of the Jedi and the Battle of Jakku, of course, titled Star Wars, this series will be written by Alex Segura and Phil Nadeau. That's crazy. So going over from Dick Tracy to Star Wars, this Alex Segura is taking the industry by storm. That's insane. Here's the little plot synopsis, folks. New Republic defeated the last remnants of the Empire at the legendary Battle of Jakku, but the greatest threats to its success are just emerging in the transformative period of Star Wars lore that fans have long been eager to witness. Join the franchise's most iconic characters as they navigate a galaxy brimming with distrust, conspiracy, and mystery. For Luke's early challenges in restoring the Jedi Order to Leia and Han's continuing romance that led to the birth of Kylo Ren, this new landscape of stories represents Marvel's most revelatory contributions to the Star Wars mythos yet, and fans can look forward to additional series set during the same time frame to launch later this year. Yeah, so big news is Alex Segura is writing Star Wars. That's awesome. That's crazy. Yeah,
we're going to talk about the lead up series to this, the Battle of Jakku series later, but he obviously set up a whole bunch of threads to pull from with that. I'm happy. It's been long rumored, long speculated this was the time frame they're going to go with. There was some that said they were going to go back to like the prequel era.
Mm-hmm.
But now we know officially Star Wars is moving forward into that giant gap of time between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens.
Yep.
And it's got one of my favorite new writers attached to it. So
it's amazing.
I'm so happy. I think the cover's really cool too.
Yeah.
I like the classic nature of it.
Yep.
Yeah, this is exciting. I'll be excited to see what else they're gonna do. Usually there's like 2 or 3 books going on at the same time within the era, but we can't really do a Darth Vader book anymore because he's dead.
Yep. True that.
So we'll see what else comes out, but I'm 100% in on this and excited.
It seems like a cool jumping on point for me too if I wanted to get into it because I do like Alex Segura.
I think it is a great jumping on point. If you watch my top 5 video, I talked about the Star Wars Legacy book that's coming out this week.
Mm-hmm.
What's the name of it? Scrolling. A New Legacy, which really feels like them kind of doing the cap to the last 10 years. So it's them taking all the great creators from that time, letting them tell stories inside their runs in those times.
Cool.
And then that'll be the last thing we get about the original series, Star Wars. And now we're going to move on to the Disney version. So
awesome.
Yeah, it is a really cool place to jump on to, and I'm excited about it.
Along with the Godzilla fan base, now we have more, or Star Wars fan base, now we have more Godzilla stuff. Quite a few things happening this year with Godzilla, which is awesome to see. We know that in a few months, Godzilla will be fighting the Marvel Universe in one-shots, starting with Fantastic Four. Marvel announced what the next 2 one-shots will be, so here we go. Next 2. Godzilla vs. Hulk. Amazing. From writer Jerry Dugan and artist Giuseppe Camuncoli. The only time I'll read a Hulk book. Round 2 versus Incredible Hulk. General Ross has no tolerance for any monsters in any form. With the Thunderbolts, his anti-kaiju task force. Oh yeah? He's taken down or imprisoned the biggest and baddest monsters on the planet. Fing Fang Foom, Mothra, Kumonga, even the Hulk. Now all that's left is his biggest hunt of all, Godzilla. But the Thunderbolts' efforts to bring their last monster to heel may just result in the most destructive battle royale to ever rock the earth. It's time to figure out who's really the strongest there is. Of course it's Red Hulk, Chris, because we gotta make it popular.
Well, I mean, Thunderbolts in it, I don't know if Red Hulk is.
Well, they said General Ross. So I
mean, General Ross was around at that time.
Yeah.
And the cover does show Green Hulk, that we think of. But I think
it makes sense.
The cover's a little meh,
yeah,
to be honest with you.
It's a little...
But I think the idea of the Hulk and Godzilla fighting is super fucking cool. So
yeah, I want
better than kind of the other 2, although I'm excited about all of these. I think that's the most we're just going to see big punches thrown fight.
That's all we need to see.
Yeah. I think that's why they had to bring the Thunderbolts and General Ross into it. Just to be like, we need some kind of story.
we got to tell a story. They can't just fight, right? Godzilla vs. Spider-Man from writer Joe Kelly and artist Mick Bradshaw. Round 3 versus Amazing Spider-Man, fresh from the original Secret Wars. Peter Parker, oh wow, aka the Amazing Spider-Man, returns to Earth with a spiffy new alien costume, without a care in the world except for a complicated love triangle with MJ and Black Cat. Oh god. An unbelievable pressure at the Daily Bugle, rent bills, supervillains, and Godzilla's in New York City, with all its destructive power aimed squarely at the wall crawler. Don't miss the 2 most popular characters in pop culture history absolutely going at it in its kaiju-sized slugfest for the ages. Yeah, makes sense. Get Spider-Man involved. I'll be reading all these, so I don't need to be sold anymore, folks. Marvel. Yeah.
And
him
of
swinging
course,
around fighting Godzilla. Come on.
Of course, you're doing Spider-Man, so you had to do the black suit.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Yeah, it's whatever.
I did like that time era where the original Secret Wars is great and some of my favorite comics. But yeah, I'm here for all this Godzilla stuff.
Yeah.
Some of the decisions of where to place characters. It is puzzling to me, but
yeah.
Hey, I guarantee you when they look back, it's like these are the time frames that people most recognize with these characters. That's why Fantastic Four is in the 60s.
Yep.
Hulk's probably in the 70s. Peter Parker, Spider-Man in the 80s with that black suit.
Yeah. That makes sense.
90s will probably be X-Men.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it will be. You're right. Marvel announced a new manga coming this fall titled Spider-Man Manga Shadow Warrior from writer and artist Shogo Aoki. Traveled to 19th century Japan, where Kingpin Wilson Fisk has fled America and established himself as governor of Edo. What? Peter Parker, Miles Morales, and Ghost Spider are hot on his trail, but the Kingpin has a trick up his sleeve. He's brought an alien parasite capable of granting extraordinary powers. When a young man named Hayo accidentally bonds with the symbiote and seemingly transformed into infinite venom, things go from bad to worse. This new book is the perfect manga for superhero fans alike. Yeah, I mean, you see that. I'm getting real big like Hero Academia vibes from that kid with the Venom costume on. So with the symbiote.
And I've said in the past, I'm all for their manga initiative, doing more with manga.
Yep.
Can we do someone other than Spider-Man, please?
Yeah, there's so much Spider-Man. So much.
I get it. Like when it comes to Japan,
yeah,
he's going to be the most recognizable superhero. I mean, there was a TV show for a while, but fuck. And like, just anyone else other than an X-Men or Spider-Man, please.
Yeah.
I might check it out. I've enjoyed the manga initiative and what they've done with it, but
yeah, I probably won't.
This one, just I'm kind of black-suited Spider-Man out at this point. So.
I don't need any more. DC's talking about their announced the summer of 2025 will be the summer of Superman. With some
skipped over the free comic book
day.
Oh,
sorry, free comic. I thought I had free comic book day. There we go. DC Comics announced their free comic book day offerings this year, including some all ages and young adult readers, including mainline primer titled DC All In Absolute Universe 2025 Free Comic Book Day Special Edition number 1. That's a mouthful, folks. Wow. This will include a 0 issue of Dan Slott's Superman Unlimited, as well as a new story that sets up the next line of Absolute Comics. Perfect. That's all I need. Let it actually be a story instead of like a preview page, because that's what these always end up being, and I hate that shit. But we'll see.
Yeah, that's kind of what I expect as a 4-issue, 5-issue thing of being like, look at I'm doing Superman, or look at like Superman, here's the next line of Absolute Comics. That, by the way, can DC tell me if they're ongoings or not? Because if they're limited series, I'll buy them.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything. They're checking how many people are ordering every week.
Dude, even my local comic shop, I asked. I was like, "Do you know if these are?" Because I told him, like, if they're ongoings, I can't take on more ongoings. And he's just like, "Oh, we have no clue." I was like, "That's great that even the shops don't fucking know DC.
Yeah, they don't tell the shops." Amazing.
Anyways, this is cool
because DC doesn't know, right?
Probably not, because like if it's successful, we're gonna keep going with it.
We'll just keep selling it forever.
Which I get, but at the same time, like fuck.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, it's cool. More free comic book day stuff. This might be the last one ever, so we'll see.
Yeah. R.I.P. Diamond. Now DC Comics has established that the summer of 2025 will be the summer of Superman, with some new comics celebrate, almost like the movies coming out this summer. So
No, they would never do that. Only Marvel does that, Mike.
Yeah,
only Marvel likes to do that stuff, Mike.
Yeah, nope. We're seeing it now. We finally got a DC movie to be excited about. First is the Summer of Superman special number 1. Wow, with a team of writers called Dan Slott, Mark Waid, Josh Williamson, along with artist Jorge Jimenez. And this oversized issue. How do they afford to pay this fucking crew for this book? Slott, Wade, and Williamson deliver a single story in 3 acts, highlighted by Jimenez's dynamic art style that has made him his favorite comic book fans worldwide. The wedding of Lana Lang and John Henry Irons, a.k.a. Steel, serves as the backdrop of an outpouring of love and support from family and friends. However, their big day will also be big trouble in Little China. No, just kidding. As threats from the past, present, and future will spawn major new conflicts for the Superman family. Yeah, I mean, how are you going to get us to care about Lana Lang and Steel? Is you have Mark Waid, Josh Williamson, and Dan Slott write about it.
Yep.
That's it. That's all. I mean, that's all it is. Like, I don't give a shit about Steel or Lana Lang, but here we are.
Steel's been an interesting backdrop in the Superman books, but
he shows up in the fight sequences every now and then with his hammer, and he's like, "Oh,
he's like, look at me, I got a hammer."
They just call him in when they need help. That's about all you use him for.
I'll be there for it because it's gonna tie into everything these guys are doing with especially Slott and Williamson, what they're doing with their books. Yeah. So
it makes sense. Next in the pages of Superman, starting with issue 25, because it is 2025, folks. I don't know if we established that, which will be an oversized 48-page comic. Lex Luthor returns and he's ready to fight for control of Supercorp in Metropolis. Okay, so we knew his mind was coming back.
It's a better time.
We can't do this weird romance thing he's got going on with Mercy and is that her name?
I forget.
I can't.
Some chick.
Yeah. His secretary. Yeah, it's weird.
My only thing is this is typical of Big Two comics. Like, let it play out a little bit.
We didn't even go like 3 or 4 issues. I think that's about it. Yeah.
Like, I'll give them credit with Batman, where they've let Alfred be dead for a while now.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
But for the most part, they do this all the time. They're like, look at this cool thing we're doing. And it goes away in 4 issues. Like, okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. I know. It's kind of weird.
But yeah, it was a matter of time, and I expected it.
Yeah. A new graphic novel is coming out called Superman The World. Like previous The World graphic novels, that feature short stories from creators across the world. That's a great idea. I don't know why they didn't start with Superman, but here we are.
Because they started with Batman and Joker, Mike.
Yeah. Joker comes before Batman, obviously, right?
No, it was Batman first.
Okay.
It was Batman. Yeah, I haven't read any
I'm
of
sorry,
these.
before Superman. So, like, the Joker's more popular than Superman. It makes me upset.
You're lucky Superman got one. I mean,
know.
I'm pretty sure next would have been another Joker one, because
it would have been a Harley Quinn one.
Cool idea, but I've never read any of them.
Yeah. Not something for me. Finally, starting Action Comics 1085, writer G. Will Wilson, artist Gavin Guidry take over for a new story. Okay, thank God. Lois Lane sends the Man of Steel to a scientific outpost in the Arctic to investigate a new technology that promises to halt global warming. Is it Man-Bear Big? But when Superman arrives, he quickly finds out the outpost has been plagued by a villain who plans to melt humanity's hopes for survival. Definitely Man-Bear Big.
Yes.
It's Al Gore. Al Gore's hiding in the Arctic with his weather machine.
I've been going through my pull list and seeing what I want to cut.
Yeah.
From it.
It's gonna be Action.
Action was on that teetering. Yeah. As soon as you said G. Wilson, I was like, okay, we can cut this right now.
And this story too was like, okay, he's gonna attack global warming. Superman's not gonna fix global warming. Come on.
Make him punch fucking.
It's called Parasite. Action Comics, Chris. Action Comics.
Well,
not
look at Detective Comics, where he never does anything detective in the whole fucking book.
Yeah, that's true.
I just don't want to see, you can do your little stories about Superman fighting the Ku Klux Klan, because I don't know why, but go ahead and do it. I just don't want this out of my Superman books. I want him to fight fucking Doomsday. I want him to be going after Parasite. It's an action book.
Yep.
Let it be a science fiction action book, please.
That's all it needs to be. Yeah.
It's just not the time or place for this, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of those books have been critically acclaimed and people really love them, so maybe I'm the outlier on that one. It's just not where I want it, and I've just never cared for anything G. Wilson's done. He's done a lot of Marvel stuff, and I'm not here for any of it. So, just not a writer I like, and just give me a good reason to not buy Action Comics anymore.
Yeah, I kind of put it aside for now.
I thought the Superman All-Stars initiative was cool for a while. It has now lost its luster, and you need to give me a creative team that gives me a cohesive story.
Yeah, we need something good.
We'll talk more about it later.
Yep. DC also plans to reprint some of Superman's best comic series, including All-Star Superman, Superman Unchained, Superman for All Seasons, and a Golden Age sized facsimile edition of Action Comics #1. That's really cool.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Especially they're taking a lot from All-Star Superman and Superman for All Seasons for the movie.
For the movie, so they got to get people informed, right?
And I gotta admit, that Golden Age size facsimile edition of Action Comics #1
looks really good.
I might need to get
that. Yeah. DC announced a new crossover event going through the pages of Batman Superman World's Finest and Justice League Unlimited. It's coming in April, called We Are Yesterday. The two series will keep their current creative teams and be a 6-part crossover that starts in Batman Superman World's Finest 2025 annual. The Man of Steel and Dark Knight will be hard pressed as it is to keep up with the psychic powers of DC's Sinister Simian, But this time there's something different, as if Grodd has knowledge of the future, and it remains to be seen what any of this has to do with the death of Darkseid. I guess I didn't know that Batman Superman World's Finest was in this universe.
Yeah, it's been a past story.
Oh, okay, so it's a past story.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes more sense then.
Yeah, because they've used it in Lazarus Planet, I believe. Okay. I think it was the setup for Lazarus Planet, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know, it's 2 books I'm already getting, so
yeah, having a crossover with those two is fine. I don't care.
That I'm fine with crossovers when they do that, because like you're already buying these 2 books,
and the villain's Gorilla Grodd. Okay, yeah, even better.
Yeah,
it's not like Joker. It's not like a Superman villain. It's Gorilla Grodd. It's a Flash villain. So hell yeah, I'm fine with that. Here we go.
Give me more Flash villains and non-Flash books, because I like the Flash villains.
But you don't like the Flash.
I'm not really a big fan of Flash.
This one we could probably skip. DC Comics announced a new series called Fire and Ice When Hell Freezes Over, from writer Joanne Starr and artist Stephen Byrne. With their power switched and no solution in sight. So fire is now ice and ice is now fire, in case anybody was confused about that. Fire and ice, tuck tail. Fire now ice fire, and ice now fire ice. Tuck tail and regroup in Smallville, where they realize their predicament makes them something worse than has-been heroes. Really? They're worse than has-been heroes? That's what they are. Menaces to the local community they've become to love, but Fire's always got a plan, no matter how short-sighted. And when she goes digging around in Zatanna's bag of tricks for a quick fix in the middle of karaoke night, what could possibly go wrong, aside from, everything again? There was another name they could add to this fold to really make me not care about this book, and that was Zatanna, Chris, who's never had a successful ongoing series. I don't know what, like, DC's doing such a great job, and then they announce a book like this, and I'm like, where did this come from?
It's funny because it's a sequel to that Fire and Ice Welcome to Smallville.
Yeah, which is
for some reason when I was going over this, I was like, I think Mike liked that book. Apparently not.
No, I never read that one. No,
I thought you did for some reason.
No.
I could care less. I just nothing here for me. I don't have anything to add. It's rare, but I got nothing.
Yeah, he's got nothing. He's
speechless.
Usually
I got something stupid to say.
No, I think the funniest part of the writing is, like, we gave Fire ice powers and Ice fire powers. Like, you could come up with that. Like, you could give them somebody else's power. They're so like out of continuity. They don't even want them fucking around with other heroes.
They're in Smallville. The only reason Smallville exists is so Superman has somewhere to go when he's feeling down.
Yeah, that's all Smallville is. Anything else? It's just like a cardboard cutout of a town. Image Comics announced a new series titled Lost Fantasy, in which they say it'll be a Final Fantasy with monsters. Sold. The series will be written by Kurt Pierce, with art by Luca Casalanguida. In Lost Fantasy, magical world lies beneath ours. First contact was made over 100 years ago between the two worlds due to a natural disaster resulting in a schism that allowed monsters to break through. Since then, secret monster slayers, known as the Great Hunters, have been working with global leaders to police the border and keep our world safe from creatures that lurk in the shadows. But last night, something broke through, resulting in a mysterious mass killing in Montana, causing things to shift in a way that will ripple through both worlds. Now it's up to the rookie monster hunter, Henry Blackheart, what a name, to stop it. I love this book. I love the title. I love the cover page. It looks like if you just showed me just the cover page, I would have thought it was a Hellboy book. From how the golem thing is drawn, but there's a giant sword, Chris, so I'm definitely checking this book
out. If you go down to the bottom where the gallery is, for one, Mike, you'll be happy to know there's 2 Jai Lee covers for you to choose from.
I see those. I didn't comment about that.
But also the B cover is a homage to Final Fantasy VII. Which may be the one I have to get when I subscribe to this book, because it sounds fucking awesome.
They're gonna sell a lot of this book.
Yeah.
It looks dope. I cannot wait for this.
It looks great. It's got some great covers. The art's pretty good. It's just everything sounds cool. So, and Kurt Pyers has been doing quietly some good work on like Comixology Originals and a few other things. So
yeah, he has.
He's built up a fan base.
Dark Horse announced a new comic series titled Los Monstros, from writer James Robertson, artist KJ Diaz. Los Monstros, located on the west coast of America, is a city populated solely by monsters of all kinds you'll find in classic folklore, black and white horror movies. They're all just getting on with their lives, working, doing jobs, nothing bad, nothing evil, well, apart from the crooks and gangsters in the lost monstrous underworld. But every city has those, right? All cities have private detectives, too, and Werewolf P.I. Perry Cutter has a simple case that quickly is turning into a king-size headache. Initially hired to find an old man's lost love from among the city's vampire community, Perry quickly finds things spiraling out of control as both vampires and Egyptian mummy criminal gangs begin to get involved too. So as Perry looks for answers, he runs a gauntlet of danger while also uncovering dark secrets about his own past as a cop and the Los Monstros Police Department. Can Perry solve the case, put his history to rest, stay alive, and still make that date he has with the cute vampire waitress he's crazy about? Sure, something to take all skills as a detective and his abilities as a werewolf to do it. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Sounds like something Chris would definitely want to check out. And some of those covers are amazing that they have.
It has all the earmarks of something I would love. Yeah.
Noir, classic monsters, vampires, sold, right? And it looks really good.
Yeah, mummy gangs.
Gangs. Yeah, I was like, I couldn't stop laughing at some of this stuff because it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. I believe it's just a 4-issue series too, so that's nice.
Cool.
And James Robertson, a name I have not heard in a long time, Mike.
Yeah.
Guy who did some great work at DC back in the day.
It's crazy that came out of nowhere.
And I was happy to see his name, and that alone would have gotten me to at least check it out, just because I have fond memories of his work.
Yep.
But the premise is super cool too, at least for someone like me.
Yeah. Dark Horse announced a new series titled Robo-Wolf. Writer-artist Jake Smith. Robo-Wolf is a crew of bank-robbing criminals are in a race against time to get a fat stack of stolen money from the villainous Colonel Massacre, who has kidnapped Robo-Wolf's daughter for ransom. The Colonel's not only one with an eye for money, however, as our heroes will have to use their combined skills to tear through an onslaught of bloodthirsty cannibals, ninjas, robots, and more. This sounds like a fever dream. And it looks a lot like Kevin Delgado's book on that cover.
Yes. Tough stuff.
But yeah, this book looks insane. The art looks amazing.
Yeah, I haven't yet, but I wanted to send this cover over to Kevin to show him because, it gives me hard, tough stuff vibes. 80s aesthetic, like 80s punk rock aesthetic.
Yep. It looks wild.
It looks insane. I'm almost interested just to see what this is.
Yeah.
From what I heard, from what I read about Jake Smith, I mean, he did a Godzilla book, so you've probably read some of his art. Mm-hmm. He's seen as a guy that's going to be an up-and-comer in the independent creator-owned market. So
cool.
But we'll see. I kind of want to see interior pages now.
Yeah, I want to
see what it's all about.
Yeah, I need to see that.
But it sounds crazy. And this next one is crazy as well.
I did not expect this week. So the first half of this, I wasn't too sold. Dynamite Comics announced a new Captain Planet comic. If we were going to end it at that, I'd be like, yeah, but who would write that comic to get you to read it? Well, David Papose is writing it with art by Iman Casalos. Insane! What an announcement that is! They really want us to read Captain Planet. Some of those covers are insane. Well, there's another Jai Lee cover, so fuck that one. Where he gives gives Captain Planet I guess he's wrapped in a vine. I don't know if you saw that one, but it looks like he just has huge birthing hips. You gotta see that Jai Lee cover, man. Oh, this is why I hate Jai Lee.
That's rough.
Yeah, he's supposed to be wrapped with a tree limb, but it just looks like he has giant hips. Anyways, huge fan of David Posey. I'm going to read this no matter what, just because he's writing it. 5 ordinary young people from around the world must become humanity's last hope after being chosen to wield elemental rings of Gaia, the high priestess of Earth. Each planeteer suddenly finds himself equipped with abilities aligned with one of the world's elemental forces. Captain Planet Earth, Wind, Fire, Water, and Heart, because that's one of them.
Heart is not an elemental force.
Yeah, come on, folks. In the most dire circumstances, the 5 can combine these powers together to summon the globe's greatest champion, Captain Planet. Kwame from Ghana wields the power of Earth. Wheeler hails from the United States, channels fire. Linka's origin from Russia, she can manipulate wind. Guy traces back to South Korea and can control water. Ma Ti is from Brazil and uses heart. I mean, David Bowie is writing this. I used to watch the cartoons back in the day. I'm gonna read the shit out of this. I totally am.
I couldn't believe. Like, I thought I was like somebody dropped acid in my fucking water when I saw this announcement.
You're like, wait, did I just? We got to get David on the show, man. This is crazy.
Yeah, David's gonna get an email soon, but I couldn't believe this announcement. I'm like you. I couldn't stand this cartoon growing up. It just felt everything people bitch about on the internet about like comics are too preachy. That's what the show felt like when I was a kid, which because it was.
Yeah, right.
But fuck, I said on X like I could care less about this book, and I even added Speed Racer in there. Like I could care less about these IPs, but Space Ghost is so good that David Pose will get me to read both these IPs.
It's crazy.
And bonus, Mike, we'll probably get it for free too. So I don't have to put it in my comic collection.
That's true. That's the best part of it. We're also going to get it for free, so it makes it a lot easier for Chris and I to try out, folks. Sorry.
Yeah, it's
this is crazy. What a crazy announcement. I don't even care. But this next one, there's a lot of firsts today, Chris, because I never was ever going to read a Red Sonja book in my entire fucking life. If you would have told me what's going to get you to read Red Sonja, I'd be like, well, maybe if she fought like Evil Dead or something like that. Well, we have it, folks. Dynamite Comics announced a new series titled Red Sonja versus the Army of Darkness from writers Tim Seeley and artist Jim Terry. It's happening. Unexpected team-up duo will have to learn to work together because the stakes could not be higher. When the evil being lurking in the shadows this time ends up being none other than the feared dread wizard of Hyborian age, Kulin Goth, it's going to take everything to win this battle. Nothing could have possibly been worse than Red Sonja's arch nemesis getting his hands on the Necronomicon. Yeah. I mean, Red Sonja... well, it's... Okay, so we have Red Sonja... And Ash, that art on that cover is so bad. The initial cover, the other covers look great.
The initial cover's terrible.
The initial cover's fucking terrible. I can't believe they went with that one. There's such better covers. I'll probably check this out. I don't give a shit about Red Sonja though. She's been around forever. I just don't care.
There's no Dry League cover, so I won't be buying this.
Sorry.
So you may be right, but I always pronounce it Red Sonja. I don't know.
I thought Sonja. I don't know.
It's more likely I'm incorrect here, but
yeah.
Gail Simone did a run on Red Sonja that is really good. That I'd recommend.
Yep.
But yeah, it's female Conan the Barbarian. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But I'm not
gonna.
I don't need another book, so I'm not gonna get into Red Sonja, and I just don't. I'm not as big of an Army of Darkness fan as you, so there's nothing there for me. I'd be excited to see how excited you are as the book hopefully is good.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Dynamite Comics announced an associate with Hanna-Barbera, a new series based on Wacky Racers. The series will be written by Ivan Cohen, art by Mariano Benitez Chapo. Will launch with a giant-sized first issue. After teaming a cartoon dog and his crime-solving pals with a brooding billionaire vigilante, the logical next step in my career was to update the classic Wacky Races for 2020s, blending the original cartoon with elements of pro wrestling, action films, and a hint of Furiosa for good measure, said writer Ivan Cohen. Editor Joe Ryben gave me and artist Mariano Benitez Chapo and Nick Capone the keys, and we'd really prefer not to give them back anytime soon. I can't wait for readers to see what they're taking. Penelope Pit Stop and the cast of the Wacky Racers to call Wild Ride is an understatement. So yeah, Hanna-Barbera is back, baby. Are you going to be reading this one?
No, Wacky Racers was one that didn't.
I didn't care for this one.
The cheesecake cover is the A cover is an interesting choice.
Yeah, but that's kind of wild.
I can't, like we said in the past, I can't buy every book, and just they're already doing Herculoids and Thundar the Barbarian and all these other great books. So Wacky Racers is one I will skip, but it's wacky, Mike, that they're actually doing this comic.
Yeah, it is kind of wacky.
This would not have been on my list of Hanna-Barbera projects.
No, it's kind of crazy that it's got made. They're probably like, yeah, sure, do whatever you want with this property.
But the interior art's pretty good.
Surprising.
It's kind of like Speed Racer. I was never a big fan of anything about racing. Hence why I never really got into Fast and Furious and all that.
I do love that. One more announcement here, folks. Vault Comics announced a new graphic novel, which is crazy, titled Post Malone's Big Rig, from writers Post Malone and Adrian Wassel. Art by Nathan Gooden. The series will be premiere with a free comic book day issue, is being developed for a feature film with director Michael Bay. Yo, this can't be real. What is Vault Comics doing? I thought they were going bankrupt for a while there. Oh no, that's Scout Comics. Sorry.
No, it's someone else.
What is Vault Comics doing right now with Post Malone and Michael Bay?
Here's my issue. Nathan Gooden.
Yeah.
You know what amazing? You remember what amazing series he's the artist of?
Which one?
Barbaric, Mike. So that means he's been away from Barbaric.
Yeah, I'm looking at the interior pages of this. This looks amazing. I don't know if Evil Dead meets Mad Max Fury Road in the story set in medieval Europe, where the only thing standing in the way of hordes of demons infesting the continent is a mysterious armored 18-wheeler seemingly sent from the heavens. I'm gonna check it out, I guess.
I'll check out the free comic book day issue to see what's going on, but
it literally is just like weird shit happening, and then an 18-wheeler pops up in these preview pages, so I got nothing to go off of, really.
I just really, it upset me to see that Nathan's not doing Barbaric stuff right now. And he took a paycheck, I get it.
Yeah.
But
he got to work with Post Malone, though. I mean, come on.
Listen, they say Post Malone's a writer. I guarantee you, like, Post Malone said to somebody, like, no, it'd be cool, like a big rig, but it's in the apocalypse.
Yep.
Okay, Post. And then somebody wrote it.
So, like, here you go, Post.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he had more than that, but it's just... It feels not like a Vault book to me. Like, Vault has a very particular style to what they do. And I hate to say, always, we say about Batcave all the time, I hate to say quality, but like that is one of it. But it's also like sci-fi fantasy is what they do. And they're going to say, oh, well, it is kind of sci-fi. It's like, no, this is a post-apocalyptic book, and it's a weird choice for them. But hey, with Post Malone's name on it, maybe they see it's going to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I will check out the free comic book day issue, but there's no way I would buy it sight unseen.
It's going to be interesting. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about what we read this week, Chris.
I read comics.
I
started a novel.
Oh, dang. Good for you. I guess I'll catch up on some stuff here. Space Ghost number 9. You talked about that, the epic battle with Metalus, and I thought that was a solid ending. With the whole fight with him, I thought it was pretty awesome. That book is amazing. New Gods number 2. I thought it was a great issue. The new villain they're setting up in space is coming to like claim Apocalypse, and it's very like Dune-esque. So I'd say he reminds me of like the villain from Dune. I can't think of his name, but anyways, so that the stuff happening in space is really interesting. There's a kid on Earth who gets the powers. And
wait,
Max
Dune the novel?
Yeah.
Sorry, it took me a minute to click. The Harkonnens.
Yeah, the Harkonnens. Yes.
Yeah.
Harkonnen. Yeah, Baron Harkonnen. So that's kind of who the new villain reminds me of. The kid on Earth who has these powers that showed up in India. Maxwell Lord's looking for him, and he was like woken up by Metron to be like, you need to find this kid. We also see that Apocalypse, they think that it's going to be the next Darkseid, is what Metron is thinking. Like, this will be the next Darkseid because Darkseid's gone. He's like talking to Desaad. Scott's trying to leave to go on this adventure with Mr. Terrific, or not Mr. So it's Scott Freeze trying to leave to go find this kid with Orion. You know, Orion's like, you have 7 days, whatever, or I'm going to kill the kid. Barda finds out and like stops him and is like, no, you're not going to go do it without me. So they're going to team up. It was a good issue. There's a lot going on in this book, but I'm really liking what they're doing. A lot of setup. Absolute Wonder Woman number 4. Epic fucking issue. This book, solid solidified. There it is. The best absolute book by far, just by how big that fucking sword got in this issue. I think it was awesome. I think Etta Candy showing up as like a half private investigator, half like Wiccan was really cool. So they get her to help Wonder Woman grow a new arm back, which is pretty metal. And then she uses her magic to make this giant sword, like the size of the city, and cut this monster in half. We get a lot of the backstory of how, like, she's kind of destined to be raised to fight evil. I think overall it's a great fucking book.
Yeah, and I love it. Seems to be the DC style right now to put the big splash, like creators page, the 2-page, like it's Superman, written by, drawn by, blah blah.
Yeah.
In the middle of the book now. Yeah. Where we get like it almost feels like a movie at a certain point where you get this awesome sequence,
right?
And then
it's
bam,
like bam,
absolute Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Other than that, everything you said, like as soon as that giant sword came out, I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah.
And while I was not hot on it in the first issue, now that we're 4 issues in, I think the way they're treating the origin story is better than the other 2 books.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah,
I think it's great. Justice League Unlimited number 3. So there's a lot of things going on in this issue. Cool issue. We see that the Question, who's in charge of security, starts keeping Airwave pretty close. I don't think she's as dumb as we think she is. Like, she's definitely keeping him close for a reason, because we know that he's a spy. I don't think she trusts him, and he's kind of a young kid and thinks that, she's, pretty naive, which is like, they wouldn't make her the head of security if she was going to let this shit fly. The Amazon is burning, and so they go to ask Swamp Thing for help, and they fucking light my boy up and kill him.
Yeah.
That was fucked up. So yeah, this terrorist group, the Inferno group, is like burning up the Amazon and like laying waste to everything. They kill Swamp Thing. Hopefully he's coming back. And then we get a sequence of like the Atoms, both versions of the Atoms, working on switching powers back with Plastic Man and stuff. So we're working on getting the powers back where they need to be. So I think overall good issue.
Yeah, great issue, and I was interested to see that the new Swamp Thing is still the Swamp Thing in canon. I was not sure of that. So
yeah, Levi. Yep, that was cool. Well, they killed him, so I don't know. We'll see. They're trying to kill him right now.
It was a good issue altogether. Yeah, it's been great.
Metamorpho number 2. I thought it was a crazy issue. So Sapphire's dad, who's Metamorpho's love interest, makes a pop star robot, and it's a really this is a really wacky book. So he makes this pop star robot because his rich family. He wants his daughter to run his company, so he makes a pop star robot that AI generates songs that is a better pop star than her. So it'll discourage her from being a pop star, and she'll take over the company one day. But the guy who he hires to build the android pop star works for Cyclops, which is the underground villain organization that's trying to kill Metamorpho. So he makes this killer robot, and then it gets let loose on the building and almost kills Metamorpho. And he decides that he's like, dude, I don't want anything to do with your family or be in a relationship with this crazy girl either, because the whole family's nuts. So he leaves. We find out that Vandal Savage is part of it, that he's still the police commissioner for in Gotham. So they call him up and yeah, we didn't kill him, but he has some ties to Cyclops, and so he's going to call in a favor. The guy who works for the head of the company is a caveman named Java. He's a Neanderthal guy, and Vandal Savage is I'm going to call in a favor to my buddy. It would make sense that he knows a caveman / Neanderthal, because Vandal Savage is from thousands of years old. So it's a fun book. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening in it. The art is really good too. So and they do they do really cool things to destroy the villains. So the robot was shooting at them, and they turned into sugar, powdered sugar. So when the gun went off, it ignited the air from the small particles and made an explosion. It was really cool how they did that. There's some science involved. Wolverine Revenge number 4. This was a crazy Old Man Logan issue. Yeah, this is wild. So he visits. So it's been 20 years later. after he's killed everybody. He goes and visits Creed once a year, Sabretooth, and he asks him, "I'm going to kill you this time." "No, I'm not going to kill you." And as he leaves, Creed sicks this Omega Force on him that's like the son of Omega Red. They're like the spawns of Omega Red. He kills them all. Of course he does. And now the son of Colossus wants to fight him after all that. It was a great issue. It was a cool little old man logo issue where he's, still killing people. Can't escape it.
So I read the Red Band version, and it is fucking brutal, dude.
Yeah.
He literally, I think it was Omega Black.
Yeah.
He literally stabs him through the neck and then just brings his claws out, and they show that like his claws out in his face in 3 pieces. I was
That's
like,
amazing.
holy shit, man.
That's so awesome.
It was, the art's, dude, Greg Capullo, so good.
Yeah, his art is amazing, dude.
I was confused for a minute there, what they were doing. Yeah. But you quickly catch up, realize what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's a ton of fun, yeah. And to see like an Old Man Logan book where he still has the suit on, and he's not a cowboy.
Yeah,
was fun too.
They kind of teased you with it though. They made you think he was going that route.
Yeah, but then he quit. It was so funny because having the gray beard with the suit on is so good, man. It's so good.
And then the last book I got to this week, there's some others I need to read. Superman 22. These people that show up, the Radiant, they want Doomsday. They don't want to give them up because they think they're going to use Doomsday as a weapon. So they have a big fight. Doomsday gets out, surprise, surprise, and then Time Trapper shows up and says, well, Superman didn't want to cooperate, so maybe you will, Lois, and it seems like they're going to fight or something in this next issue. So that's kind of where we're at. There's a lot of chaos going into the next issue.
Yeah. That's getting up there, one of my favorite DC books right now. It's really good.
It's really good. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
And just anything Dan Mora does, like I'm here for.
Oh, the art is amazing. That's all I got to this week.
So you didn't get to Hyde Street number 3.
Oh, no, I was like, I'm going to save this for last, and then I didn't get to it.
Which was a Christmas issue.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, so it's this guy who pretends to be Santa Claus, goes to people's houses and steals all their presents. And he's such a dick that when a kid catches him, he even looks at the kid and goes, Santa isn't real and Christmas is canceled, and steals all the presents.
That's so messed up.
It was so fucked up, dude.
That's so evil. What the hell?
So then the Boy Scout kid goes to Mr. X-Ray and tells him, like, we need to go after this guy. I need to show you how to make points because the scorekeeper told me to in the last issue. And let's just say it doesn't go right, and a new character joins the fray. So we talked about a little bit earlier, Star Wars: The Battle of Jakku-Last Stand, number 4. As a whole, Mike, it's titled The Battle of Jakku. 12 issues with that subtitle being the name. We didn't get to the Battle of Jakku until about 3 issues ago.
Amazing.
It was all set up. Good lead up to what they're going to do with the Star Wars book we talked about earlier in the podcast. I like that we get to see all the characters. It ends with the birth of Ben Solo. There's teases of the New Order. There's teases of just things that could happen in future issues. I thought it was good altogether, but it's not necessary if you're going to jump on Star Wars number 1. I don't believe. We'll see when Star Wars number 1 comes out. As a Star Wars fan, I enjoyed it, but it was a little long in the tooth. Ultimate Spider-Man number 13.
Oh boy.
So the fake Peter Parker we saw, it's pretty much confirmed that he's a symbiote. And it's weird because the symbiote then merges with Peter's kid, and that kid is going around being Spider-Man, but without superpowers. He's just got the Venom symbiote, but it's designed like the black suit Spider-Man. And we just see him having fun and figuring out that apparently this symbiote had to deal with Peter to protect the family while he was gone. I'm sure that's going to end very well. And that story arc ends with that Spider-Man meeting Black Cat and going over past tensions with the real Peter Parker. So we'll see where that goes. And then the main story is Peter and Harry have been captured by Kraven. And Kraven's working with the Sinister Six. In particular, in this issue, he's working with Mole Man and Mysterio. Where Mole Man, his underground cavern is actually the Savage Lands. So when you go down there, it's basically Hollow Earth from Kong.
Okay.
There's dinosaurs and shit down there and all this stuff. And Kraven decides he's going to hunt these two in the Savage Land. So not only is he have to hunt Spider-Man and Green Goblin, but he has to do it while fighting T-Rexes. And we get to see Peter and Harry running off fighting velociraptors and shit. It was a good time. And then my last book was the Doctor Doom and Rocket Raccoon, #1. Basically, Doctor Doom calls upon Rocket because when they switched bodies back in Guardians of the Galaxy 4 years ago, Doctor Doom realized that Rocket's actually like a super genius. So he's going to use his genius to help him create this time machine that can go further, so far back that they can see before the Big Bang. So the whole issue is them figuring this out, and then they go back and they realize the thing that started basically everything. It's a very weird introspective issue, and of course it ends in the way you think it is. Doom is the reason that everything started.
Of course. There's
a lot of good quips in this, a lot of good jokes. And I like that, I'm assuming, because J. Michael Straczynski wrote it, I'm assuming he wrote these parts. But they even have like an in-joke where the editor and associate editor are arguing with each other in the editor notes about what they should put.
Oh, that's funny.
So there's a lot of good things here. I really enjoyed it, and it gives me hope for the next couple of these one-shots.
Nice.
But Mike, that was everything I read. Where can people find you on the internet?
Find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter, and I jumped on Blue Sky as Fortress Mike because it was available. I jumped right on that as nice. Early days there. I was like, wow, that's first Fortress Mike, so that was pretty cool. Where can they find you and or the show?
Find me on X at Fortress Chris, and pretty much any social media that includes Blue Sky, Threads, all that crap. And chriscomicscorner.substack.com. And you can find the show on Threads and Instagram, as well as X, at Fortress Pod. Also at fortresscomicnews.com. And if you want to support the show, 5-star reviews on podcatchers. For the YouTube version, like, subscribe, share, comment down below, and patreon.com/fortresscomics. Thank you all so much for watching and or listening this week. I'll see you all here next week.